Okay, so now what we're going to do is have with this new knowledge that we have about what makes a great goal. Now we know, that we need to set a stretch goal. Now we know that we need to set a goal with a deadline. And we know that we need to set a goal that is measurable and ideally one goal. So now having with that in mind, let's try setting our goals. So I'll give you 5 minutes to do that, to set now to reframe your goal and to share it with us on the chat.
Can I ask one
Of
question? Is this
course,
okay?
yes. Go ahead, Priya.
My question is what if you had like limited interest and limited values? You know, so then how do you
Hmm.
align a goal with that?
How may limited interest in the sense you are not that interested in many things, or what do you mean?
Sometimes people are not really interested in anything specific. Like
Hmm.
they don't have a passion or they don't know
Yeah, what
what
they're
they like.
striving towards. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think in that case, what they can do is look at their life in terms of those different dimensions of, you know, family, of friends, of career, of money, of, uh, uh, you know, something else, hobbies or something like that, and ask themselves, where am I dissatisfied? Because you'll never be 100% satisfied with your life across all dimensions, right? So that would be a good place to start. Even if you're not striving towards something brand new, something that has never been done before, something like that, you could be fixing something in your life that could use some work. And we could all use some work. There's nothing, in your life that like you could be, it could be as simple as, cutting out sugar in your life, or, getting 45 minutes of exercise a day, or it can be just spending, like if you like, if like, I mean, I was going to say if you like to paint, but you said, if they don't have interest. But then again, I feel like everybody has interest as well, that we all have, at least something that makes us that that gives us a sense that life is worth living, that makes us happy, that makes us get up in the morning. So I think there would be, it may be hard. You may have to really dig into yourself to find out what that thing is. But I think for pretty much everyone, there should be something that excites you about life, because humans are naturally curious people, and there should be something. But if in the event that somebody can't think of anything, the other way to look at it is to think of, where are the gaps? Where am I dissatisfied at the moment? I hope that
how about
helps.
like values? I mean, like
Oh, yeah.
if you have
You
limited
don't
values,
have values. Mm, Again, I mean, my inclination is to believe that we all have values. Like, even if we are misbehaving in our life, it may be because of values. Like, if you are, fighting back against people, it may be because you have a value of freedom. Freedom may be important to you. So, there may be healthier ways to build that value of freedom into your life. So, I think at the end of the day, everyone has some goodness in them, and that goodness stems from values. And
but don't you have to be like sort of like people oriented? Like you have to love civilization or you have to like humanity if you really want to do something other than earning money, for example. Because other than that, you just focus on money and there's
no, apart
no.
from money, you can focus on your own health. So even if like focusing on your health is like a selfish thing to do, I guess. I mean, I would never say that it's selfish. Everybody has to do it, and I try to do it as much as possible. But it's not something I'm doing for anybody else. It's something I'm doing for me. You know. So even if you aren't interested in humanity, or even if you aren't like, there are different types of goals. There are goals that will benefit all of humanity, and then there are goals that will benefit just you. So if you can choose whatever goal, because like some people would even say, let's work on ourselves before we work on humanity. Let's start at home. So
Yeah.
but yeah, multiple options are available in terms of your goal. Mm, How is everyone doing in terms of setting themselves some goals? Can we see some goals? Yeah, Salma is good to go. That's great. Could you share yours with us in the chat, Salma?
Hello, can I share some of my goals?
Yes, please, Amri. Please go ahead.
These are some of my short-term goals. Actually, I'm a traveler and I love traveling.
Nice,
So, my short-term goals are to do a bungee jumping, then a skydiving,
nice.
then a air balloon trip, which is in
Wow,
Kandalam. Uh, So, and I also love camping. I've achieved one. It is camping. I camp a
okay,
lot. I eat
nice,
off a lot. So I've achieved one of my short-term goals in the traveling category.
okay.
Uh, and the other thing, when it comes to the long-term goals, I work out on my financial freedom.
Mhm.
So that's one. And then travel the whole world. That's one. Then read a lot of books. And then, uh, yeah, and I would like to add one more thing to my short-term goal is to keep myself fit throughout my life. So that's one of it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Amri. I love those goals. They are fantastic. And if you achieve all those goals, you will have had a life fully lived, I would say. I would like to ask you, how can we make your goal? I think your goals are already stretch goals. So you're already ticking that box. How can we make your goal deadline oriented? How can we set deadlines to your goals? Let's give some thought to that. Like, for example, you mentioned you would like to go bungee jumping. Why don't you
Yeah.
set a date for yourself? I'm going to go bungee jumping by, within like September 1st. By September 1st, or that may be even too far, Set something that is stretchy, that is a stretch goal for you, something that is you have to actually act, in order to make it happen. So you
Yeah.
can say by within 1.5 months, I'm going to have gone bungee jumping, because what we
Mhm.
don't want is we don't want you to 20 years from now for you to tell us one day I'm going to go bungee jumping. We want you to tell us in a certain amount of time that I went bungee jumping. So in order to make it happen, that's why it's very important to put a timeline on it. So similarly, try to make all of these goals. I love all of them. They're fantastic and very exciting, but try to make each of them very measurable. So, for
Mhm.
example, you said to visit the whole world, travel to across the whole world. So, does that mean every country in the world? And if so, mention the number of countries. I want to have travel to X number of countries by this amount of time this year, by 2050 or whatever time it is, 2040, or any time that that is a stretch for you but still realistic and possible. I want to
Mhm.
have traveled to every country. And similarly, um, I try to make so each of those was like fitness. Again, with fitness, set a goal rather that, I want to be doing this much exercise or this type of exercise many times a week and this often.
Mhm.
When you frame it like that, what the science says is when we put in deadlines and when we make it clear that, okay, we have achieved it or we have not achieved it, when we frame our goal in that way, we are much more likely to achieve it. So give some
Perfect.
thought to that and then share your goal with us again. And let's have a look at how you can also select among those goals what would you consider your top priority, even your top three priorities, let's say. So even if you don't end up, going skydiving, but you do end up going bungee jumping and traveling the world, you still lived a full life. So
Yeah.
identify, what is your topmost priority and prioritize your goals accordingly.
Thank you very much.
So Salma has shared her goals, a workout goal to walk or run 1 hour once a week and to use stretch bands 3 times a week for 20 minutes. I love these. These are so, they are meeting all of the criteria in terms of an effective goal. So in framing your goal this way, Salma, you have already dramatically increased your chances of achieving that goal. So it's very clear. Walk, run 1 hour once a week. So if Salma gets to the end of the week and she hasn't walked or run for 1 hour, she knows she hasn't met her goal. And if she has, she knows, yes, I did it. I met my goal. You know? And similarly
So
using,
I think for
yeah,
the past few months, I've been able to be consistent on these
that's
three
great.
points.
Oh, that's
Uh,
wonderful.
but mindfulness is something that I feel it comes along with this fitness regime for me.
Okay.
I just stumbled upon it and I love it about 2 years ago, but I've not been able to be consistent on that. Like, otherwise, I would give a proper 30 minutes of
Okay.
mindfulness.
Yeah.
Uh, and with that, the last one that I mentioned, I'm still working on that about bringing up my kids with sympathy and
Yeah.
self love. I think that is something that we were not taught enough at a younger age. So I'm working on that with myself. Plus, I'm trying to teach my kids how to do it as well.
That's fantastic. I'm wondering, Salma, if we think a little bit about now, when we say mindfulness, you were talking about like you would like to do it for 30 minutes. Maybe you can even set a realistic, maybe 30 minutes is a stretch. Maybe it's too much of a stretch. Maybe you could even make it 10 minutes, and for 10 minutes a day, I practice mindfulness. And the reason I'm suggesting that is because that helps to make it measurable and time bound. So then you can know at the end of the week whether am I on track in terms of mindfulness. So that's just one idea. And similarly, I know bringing up your kids with sympathy and self love it's beautiful and important and probably the most important thing. I'm wondering, is there a way that we can somehow make this more concrete and more measurable? For example, yeah, do you have an idea in mind?
Yes. So I'm following, there's this Instagram page I'm following called Big Life Journal. It's ideas for parents on how to bring up the kids with self love. And there are some beautiful like worksheets and things like that you can do in a fun way with them. And I have
Oh,
started doing it once a week. So I get involved in doing it for myself
mm,
and then I ask them. Some
okay.
questions, they just roll their eyes at me like, Mama. I'm like, yeah.
Of course. But that's beautiful. So that's a great way in order to make something like that concrete. So, in order like to say that this is something I'm going to do once a week. So that's fantastic. So there you go. So I think most things, if we really give it a little bit of thought, it's possible to make them concrete and measurable, time bound, and to set those deadlines and to make them stretch goals. So just try applying a little bit of creativity, even to things that are, as abstract as, practicing self love, practicing sympathy. How can you show yourself self love? You can, like, you may want to show yourself self love. What does that mean for you really? Does that mean that every day you take a time, this amount of time to yourself to do your hobbies or to meditate or to do whatever it is that makes you happy, that makes you thrive? So quantify it, make it measurable so that you know, did I achieve it? So Shuaib has his one is very measurable, very quantifiable. Conduct training aid dev programs daily. So Shuaib, do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yes. So I decided to put this goal a few years ago.
We can't hear you.
I got muted. Okay, so as I decided that this particular goal
Mm.
would help me get to my long-term goal
Mm.
in terms of
Fantastic.
training and development. And when I was looking at this problem in terms of how I need to train myself to
Mm.
be a performance oriented trainer, I
Mm.
realized that you cannot be a performance oriented trainer by looking at training and development for yourself. You
Mm.
need to develop a training and development army,
Right.
which means multiple individuals with multiple skills, with multiple mechanisms of solving training needs and problems. So, this seemed like the most realistic and important thing to
Mm.
do. One training and development program every day, at least one,
Fantastic.
minimum. And sometimes I get hit by a ton of training and development programs. Like sometime now, last Saturday was a crazy run, end to end programs from one end to Panadura to the other end
Ah,
in Colombo too. Like I had like
okay.
4 5 training programs in one day.
Right.
So this also happens. So this ripple
Mm.
effect, I feel that it could happen every day, and
Mm.
in every segment we'll be having more training and development. So
Nice.
minimum one a day.
That's great. And that is a stretch as well, I think. That is a stretch goal, which is good. That's really good. So I assume this is also achievable for you, right? It's achievable. Okay, so that's good because that's important as well. Because if we set a goal that is too so unrealistic that that is such a so much of a stretch that it's not achievable, that's also not practical because then we are setting ourselves up for failure. But this is achievable and it's also a stretch goal and it's also in support of your long-term goals and it's also measurable. So in so many dimensions, it is an excellent goal. So that's brilliant.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to share their goal? That's okay. Oh no, somebody
Uh,
unmuted. Yes, please.
yes, I want to run a marathon. That's my
Oh,
ultimate goal. I'm working towards it. Um, I'm doing running. I do like once a week. I run 3 times a day. Um, slowly building up, and like you said, I have a deadline,
great.
and I'm measuring it. I'm calculating uh, what my pace is, um, what my distance is, how well how far I'm in terms of able to achieve what I want to achieve. So working towards that, that is one of my ultimate goals, run a full marathon, 42 kilometers marathon.
Wow. And you said you have a deadline, right? Could you share your deadline with us?
Deadline is by the end of December.
End of December. Okay, so that's great. So and what's
Yes.
also good is that it's within this year. You haven't pushed it to next year. So that's also good. So that makes you sweat a little bit
Yes.
more because it means,
Not
yeah. Go ahead.
because that will ultimately, yes, it's actually last year goal, like postponed back again for this year. I mean,
Okay.
brought it back
Yeah, yeah.
again. So
Sure,
like,
sure. No, that
yes,
happens. That's okay. That's fine. But now that you've set it this year and like with the steps that we're going to go through in the future, you can make this happen by December. So let's do this.
yes, definitely working towards it.
Awesome. Nuha, you have shared your goal with me privately. Is it okay if I repeat it to the group?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. So Nuha's goal is to score 3 A's for her A-level exam and score a high Z score, which will qualify her for university. So that's excellent. So she has a clear goal. She will know whether she meant it or not. One way, like that is something you is absolutely unavoidable. Although you mentioned score a high Z score. So I would like to encourage you to actually decide like what qualifies as a high score. So put an actual number there. Then that will really help you to know what you're striving for. And then, once you have scored that score, did I meet that goal? Is it a high score or not? Like what is the cutoff point for high versus not high? So just as much as possible, we want to make these things quantifiable and we want to make them measurable. So that's why I'm recommending actually put a number to it. Scoring 3 A's is very clear, very obvious. You will know, you see it on paper if it happened or not. And all the best to you. I'm sure you can achieve that. Okay. So anybody else who would like to share a
Thank
goal?
you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
No problem, Nuha. Okay. I
Hi,
think, yeah, please go ahead.
hi, I'm Anurag.
Hi, Amra.
My goal is to start a company before I became age 29. So, yeah, I am currently in age 26. So, I have 3 year goal.
Nice.
So, in these days, I am training my team. It has 10 members. So, my short term goal is I want to, I will train them within this, I will fully train them within this year, and next year we will do some sample works,
Great.
and I also measure their performance of each member once a week or maybe twice a week. So this is my goal.
Okay, so that's really great. So you want to start a company, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So can I ask you, Anuradha, when you what will be the marker that you have achieved your goal? Is it having that incorporation certificate in hand that says, I have this company incorporated?
Uh, Actually, I want to start a company related to data science. So actually, using that company, we will produce some meaningful insight from data and build some machine learning models and visualization techniques. So so it is related to my field.
Okay. So that sounds really amazing. That's a very and data science is the name of the game, right? It's the way of the future. So I'm sure your company will be a great success. So
Thank you.
um, Anuradha, why I asked you, how will you measure, that you've achieved your goal? Is it having that incorporation? So like when you hit the age of 20, you said 26 or
Nine,
28? Huh?
29, 29.
29, sorry,
Yes,
29. You're currently 26, you said, right?
yes, yes.
Okay. So when you hit 29, um, how will you say like that you've started your companies? What do you mean by starting the company? Is it that you have incorporated the company, like you have gone to the registrar of companies and provided them the company information and they have given you an
Yeah.
incorporation certificate? That would mean that you have started the
Uh,
company. Or is it like
no.
getting X number of clients or
Yes,
how
absolutely.
or
My yeah,
something
my first client.
getting your first client. Okay. That's a
Yes.
very good. Now it's very clear. Now it's very clear. So you should have your first client for your company by this particular by your 29th birthday. So now that's an excellent goal. So we know now, like if you don't have your first client by your 29th birthday, you know that the goal hasn't been met, and I'm sure you will have your first client by your 29th birthday, and you'll be able to say, I met my goal of starting that company. So that's brilliant. Fantastic. Is anyone else who would like to share a goal?
Hi.
Hi, Fazra.
Okay, I joined late, but then I think like I'll be able to share my goal here. Well, I speak like I don't talk about this much, but I really like to make a lot of money and help a lot of people. So my ultimate goal is to host an exhibition having the differently able, and then to do classes for the underprivileged kids. I would like to teach them mathematics and English, which is much needed. So yes, that's my goal, and I also do have a wish of this. I am just planning on it, but then to dress up like a teddy bear or someone where nobody can recognize me, and just go around the street helping people.
Oh, oh my gosh, I love that one so much. I'm gonna be like coming behind and singing, it's Fazra, it's Fazra. Oh my gosh, that's brilliant. I love all of those goals. They're so fantastic, and I love how you started with, I want to make a lot of money, and then you went to, I want to give it all away. So that's wonderful. I love your goals. They're so fun as well as very heartwarming. What I would like to encourage you, Fazra, is to see if you can, like you say, you want to make a lot of money. How much money do you want to make and by what date, right?
Um, okay, so right now, like any
You don't have
amount
to
that
tell
I
us. Yeah.
make,
Okay. I thought you
yeah.
were going to share your salary details with us. Don't do that. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so every time I make money, like I used to keep some for charity or to help out people. So I just keep doing that. So every time I receive, I also give away. Yeah, so like maybe obviously you will be needing a little bit of profit for yourself, but then yeah, I keep whenever I get, I give away too.
That's fantastic. And I love that. So what maybe one way of framing it is, that my goal is to give away, 20% or 10% or 15% or any amount that you would like of my income at any given time. Let's see if we
Yeah.
can frame it in a way that it becomes measurable.
Okay.
So
Then,
then, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, like that's so cool. Like the way that you said, it's better to have a percentage amount, I think.
Yeah, that might work. And also, like, when are you
Yeah.
going to do this teddy bear thing? I love it.
No, I just didn't get permission from home. I was
Okay,
asking for
okay.
it.
Yes,
So
yes.
maybe I have to convince my parents on it before I could walk
Okay,
in the
sweet.
street.
Anything I can do to support you, let me know. I'll get a teddy bear costume
Thank you.
myself and follow
Yes,
you.
please.
So I love that.
Thank
So,
you.
you said what are you going to do now once you're in the teddy bear costume? You're going to do some acts of kindness, you said, right? Like,
Exactly. Like there can be people who want to cross the road. There can be blind mans that I come across. There can be people who are wanting toys. I can take them to a big luxury restaurant and feed them with a burger or something. There are a lot of things that you see around in street, but then I don't want to help people by showing off that this is me. So I really wish if I can stay hidden and do the maximum that I could.
so
So
awesome.
I'm
I love that. So set it like I know you have to like get permission from home and so on, but set a goal, like set a date for like when, like it may take you time to like get your parents like sweet talk them and do all the chores at home, and it might take some time. So mentally factor in all how much time you roughly think that might take, and decide,
okay.
this is my goal by, within 2 months of, being an angel of a daughter. Then I'll ask them, and by this date, I will be in my costume doing all of these things, because that will make it happen. Because what I don't want is, I don't want this to still be your goal in 5 years' time. I want you to be able to say, I once dressed up in a teddy bear costume and I went and did all these things. And then
Thank you
that will
so much.
that'll feel really good for you. The rest of your life, you'll remember, I did that, and feel really happy and proud of yourself. So that's why it's
Yeah.
important to set a date, to set a timeline on it.
Thank you so much. That truly motivated me.
I'm glad, and I'm so excited by your goal.
Can I say my goals?
Yes, of course, Priya.
Yeah, my short-term goal is to be part of a director board of several companies, you know. So within this year or next year, I'm going to create 2 companies. I have 2 ideas, and one of my friends' dad is keen on the idea. and he wants to establish it. So
Nice.
that's the short-term goal. And also, I want to get a master's in business administration. So I'm thinking I'm doing an education course right now.
Mm.
And if I do it really well, I want to go to maybe apply to Oxford or some university like that, top ranking.
Okay.
That will be next year. By next year, I want to.
Can we be more specific than next year?
Maybe next year, February, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So put an actual date on it. Like, is it the last day of February or the first day of February? That will just help to make it more real, you know?
No, as soon as the classes start, and whatever date
Okay.
that.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. So if you need to do your research and figure out what that is, that's fine. But once you've done that and once you know all that information, have a very specific date in mind. By this date, I'm going to, like you said, even the two companies that you're going to start next year, by when, if you have each all of those things in your mind, then oh, I have a deadline, because otherwise if it's sometime during the year, you think, I have time, the year is a long year. you know?